Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM, WCWP.org. I am Rebecca Miller, your host for the day, along with Kristina Liu, who is the radio show producer and also is hosting the show as well. Kristina, another great show, really good information on assisted living and a lot of questions answered. You know, I guess some I never really thought of, but
but they're important things to think about. Listen, we're obviously would like to have seniors age in place. That's kind of our whole thing is as long as they wish to, right? And we're realistic that that's not always an option for people for different reasons.
Right.
I think we asked, there was a lot of questions because there are little things that you might not think of, but can kind of make or break you moving into one of these kind of communities. Because as she said, we weren't just talking, it's all different assisted livings, and everyone's got their own thing they might like. So.
And a few of them are in North Hempstead.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think our guest has arrived.
Good morning. Hi, it's Laura Curran.
Hi, Laura.
How's it going, ladies?
Good, Laura. We don't see you, Laura, but we hear you.
And it's radio, right? So that's okay.
There you go.
Although they do tell me I have a great face for radio.
Oh, please. It's so great to have you on, Laura. It's been a while.
I know. It's been a minute, but I'm really happy to be on.
You're a little busy these days?
Just another day. Just another day running Nassau County.
Just another day. So what's the latest news? What's the updates happening in our county?
Well, we're still number one in our vaccination rate among all 62 counties in New York State. Last week, we hit a great milestone. 94% of adults 18 and older have at least one dose of the vaccine. So we're above that now. It's more than 97% of seniors, which is great. And we're also outperforming in young people between 12 and 17. We're outperforming the national scene and the state scene. Oh. But, we're still working with pediatricians, working with our school districts, making sure that everyone gets the information they need to make the right decision for themselves.
That's great. I'm proud of you and your team and everything that all of our residents are doing in Nassau County, and getting back to normal is I think on everyone's mind. So we're coming up to some fun weekend stuff. I'm wondering what does the county have in plan? Any good plans for Halloween and
well, it's funny you should ask. I am right in front of Stu Leonard's right now. We're going to be doing a press conference about safety tips for Halloween and different options. There are drive-through fun things you can do. There are spooky Halloween stuff. Like I was just in Tanglewood not so long ago over in Lakeview, which is a great, actually quite terrifying haunted house that you go through. And then there's a more kid-friendly one as well. I remember last year when we were talking about Halloween, it was all about COVID and is it safe to go out? Well, I think people are really confident because our vaccination rate is so high. And people know how to protect themselves. They know how to protect their kids. So I'm really looking forward more for the kids to have a normal and fun Halloween.
Yes, we have our Halloween decorations up at our house, my husband and I, so we have we're all set up and ready to go. Last year we had our candy shoot that we kind of created to keep safety. Yeah. But I think this year is nice that we'll kind of be able to, loosen some of the restrictions with that. And we're looking forward to that as well.
That's good stuff.
And I think the town is having their spooky walk as well.
Yes.
Which is at Clark Gardens, which is always spooky. And then they have for the younger kids, not so spooky walk, which is what I prefer too. Because you're right, Laura, it does get scary. Some of them are, pretty scary. You
will actually scream for your life in some of these places. Yeah, which it's actually pretty fun.
It is. Listen, it's one of our favorite things. And there's really great outdoor ones. Those are, what I think is nice this year. There's certainly a lot of walks and there's creative ways to little mazes and whatnot. So I think it's nice that there's a lot of outdoor options too for people who might prefer to kind of do those things.
So we have one of those. It's the Great Pumpkin Blaze in Old Bethpage Village Restoration, which is, it's so, if you
It's
haven't
so
been to Old
beautiful.
Bethpage, it's amazing. It's all these historic houses and it's perfect. So these amazing artists have carved all of these pumpkins into all these different shapes. Everything from the Montauk Lighthouse to a sea monster to a merry-go-round. And there's some spookiness as well, with dry ice and the music and all of that.
Right.
And it's outside, so you get to enjoy these beautiful grounds, look at these historic buildings, and it's a really good Halloween experience. I did it last year. It was the first time they had it in Long Island last year, and we loved it so much we brought it back, and people love it. We've had thousands and thousands of people check it out.
That's great because the grounds there are, naturally a little spooky. And I mean, they're
Right.
wonderful too, and they do that terrific, the Christmas light show, the holiday light show, and it's beautiful. All their paths are lit up with candles, and all the houses are decorated, and it's just a great vibe there. I really enjoy that. So that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, go check it out. It's
beautiful. It's amazing. The artistry of the pumpkins are absolutely stunning. I've gone for, and it's just, I'm hoping to go this year again because it's just absolutely breathtaking how they do it.
Yeah, there's some similar things from last year and some new things as well. So I hope you'll be pleasantly surprised by some of the new stuff.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the other things going on
yes.
in the county that's really good information for seniors, but also, this is our talk of the town segment. So all residents that would, benefit from any update you provide.
Absolutely. So we have been named the safest community in America, according to U.S. News and World Report, for 2 years in a row now. But the goal is that everyone who lives here, no matter how young, how old they are, feel like they live in the safest community in America. And unfortunately, throughout the pandemic and beyond, we have seen senior scams that are really devious. I do believe there is a special place in hell for people who prey upon seniors, whether it's phone calls or these email scams, and these con people who find these devious ways of really gaining the trust of people who may be alone, who may be isolated, who may be afraid, gaining their trust and then getting their money. And so we're doing a big awareness campaign with our Office of Crime Victim Advocate, with our police, going around to senior centers. I was just up in Great Neck, actually. We've done them. We're bringing them all around the county about arming people, seniors, with knowledge, what to look for, what to say, who to call 911, hang up the phone. Don't trust someone that you don't know who's calling with something that sounds great. They love you. You want an award, or they need your help, or they're pretending to be someone who was in an accident. So it's very important that people know about this, that unfortunately these devious creatures are out there looking to prey on people who may be a little more vulnerable. So we want to get this information out there. But, if you can't make one of these seminars, if you can't make one of these information sessions, just please be careful. If you get a phone call or an email for something that's too good to be true or too alarming to be true, ignore it. Call the police, call a relative that you trust before you take any action.
Yeah,
I think that's so important, Laura. Unfortunately, you can't stop these scammers, because they're coming up with new ways constantly. But,
exactly,
giving the education, in our newsletter that we send out to all of our residents, we have a whole feature there where we took stuff, that you guys put out, the police department put out some really great tips, because unfortunately with COVID, that opened a whole new world of scams with vaccine cards and testing. I mean, it's anything they could possibly find to scam you with, they'll do. So it's, we're so big over at Project Independence with disseminating that information, because unfortunately it's always changing and evolving.
That's exactly right. They find new angles. They find new ways to do it. And some of them, it's like the classic, the Nigerian prince or your car warranty or socials. But then some just target an individual person and will talk to them for months, email them, phone calls, create a relationship like that. Yeah. That happens. And people, unfortunately, when they're alone, maybe a little vulnerable, they start to trust, they start to believe, oh, this person really loves me, or this person really needs my help, or whatever it is. So just be wary of these con folks. I guess, I don't know, con men is the term, but that sounds politically incorrect. So I'll say con people.
Con people. Yeah. Yeah. I think that generation too, I don't want to say that we didn't grow up as polite, but the generation was, you don't hang up on somebody,
Right.
you give them the time. But
Right.
what we're doing at the county is so important. We're doing it too at the town. It is absolutely education. We have to get the word out there. A lot of the seniors, when we, have our advisory boards, and we're always doing, scam updates, they really, oh, okay. When they hear that other people it's happened to,
Yes.
Yeah.
it happened to me.
Exactly.
There's shame when people get
Exactly.
scammed. There's a lot, especially when it's financial. They don't want their
Mhm.
kids to find out.
Mhm.
They've given someone their social. It happens to everybody. The savviest, they're very, very tricky. And they prey on seniors, but they prey on everybody. It's just once they find a way in, they're getting in. So
Rebecca, that's such a good point about the shame and the
yeah,
embarrassment that people don't, I don't want my kids to think I don't know how to handle myself. I'm embarrassed by this. They're going to think I'm stupid. Just, you got to get over that. You got to get over
right,
that. If something's not right, just, and plus, we want these people held accountable. We do want the police involved. We
right,
want these people
Right.
tracked down and put in jail if that's the appropriate thing, because then they'll go out and do it to other people.
right. Right. It's so sneaky. So you have to really it's almost like you have to live almost borderline paranoia when something
Right.
sounds too good to be true. I'm like, wait
Yeah,
a
it
minute,
is.
back off.
Right.
This sounds too good to be true. It's got to be a scam. But I guess you have to live, if that's it and you protect yourself, that's really what
And we always say,
you need to
a
do.
legitimate organization isn't going to be mad at you for questioning, so it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to call you back at the number that I know actually is the real number. So if they're legitimate, they're not going to get mad, or if you ask to see identification, if it's an in-person thing. I mean, these are things that, if no one's being shady, they shouldn't have a reason to, fight against you asking those questions.
That's exactly right. Trust. You don't have to be paranoid, but verify.
Yeah.
Verify.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Right.
And if you have any question, trust that spidey sense. Call 911. It's never
Right.
an overreaction.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's things just are so sneaky. I mean, I've heard of scams that are just so bizarre, and people finding, you have to also be careful of airing even on a radio show. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be home this weekend. Or
Right.
telling
Yeah.
people, oh, you've just told somebody somewhere that your house is empty, and you're giving them the time that you're traveling. So,
You're so right. It's
Yeah.
amazing what people put on Facebook, like, oh, we're going to Puerto Rico or whatever it is.
I
Don't
know.
do that.
When you get home, it's when you post a picture, when you show off. But,
Exactly.
definitely not.
All right,
And
ladies.
also I want to touch upon, I saw, Laura, that the rental assistance program, the county had some new things going on with that. I saw a press release on that. So you'll tell us a little bit about what's going on with that.
Yes, so we're expanding our rental assistance program. There is still money available. This is federal money that is available for people, and we want people to know about it and use this money. It's good for the tenants, obviously, and it's also good for the property owners, for the landlords, some of whom have been struggling as well. A lot of these are small business people, so we want to make sure that we're keeping this economy moving, we're keeping people in their homes, and keeping our businesses going as well. So please go to nassaucountyny.gov/boost Nassau to get information about rental assistance and to get information about the grants that we're giving to small businesses and the grants that we're giving to nonprofits using that federal COVID relief money. Our budget is balanced in Nassau County, so we can use this money now to help our local economy and get people back to work.
That's great. Laura, will this funding or program go into 2022?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will be into 2022. The money may not last forever, but the program will be open for as long as the money is available. So I would ask everyone to just take advantage of this opportunity. This is, you can verify, you can call our Boost Nassau office or go to the website and get all the information that you need.
That's great. Who is the kind of typical person that would apply? Is it any age, any level?
Absolutely. Any age. If you're having some difficulty in paying your rent because of COVID, because of loss of income, increased childcare expenses, whatever it is, there is help available. See if you're eligible. There's nothing to lose.
That's great. That's really excellent information. So I wanted to also just give some kudos because I'm, very much into the music scene, and I wanted to just applaud the county, you and the county, what wonderful music outdoor programming you had this summer. I'm hearing from so many friends, and all the reviews in the paper just saying what a great music scene it was on Long Island this summer, and coming from the county and at Eisenhower Park. And I hear that you were at all, if not most, of the shows.
Yeah, yes, I came to most of the shows to introduce the musicians. We had amazing bands. We had really, I think it was record turnout. We had, sometimes up to 7,000 or 10,000 people come to Eisenhower Park for the Saturday night concerts. We had smaller concerts in the other parks and other parts of Eisenhower Park as well. And we had our very first music festival with 3 bands and food trucks, and it was a gorgeous fall day. So looking forward to doing more of that next year.
That's great. I think I was at a few. I did actually see you, and I, wanted to come say hello to you, but you were very busy.
Come say hi next time. I would love to see you in person.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And they were, and the shows were great, and looking forward to checking out a lot of the stuff that surround Nassau County coming up.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going on and fun stuff in North Hempstead as well.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, ladies. I hope to speak with you soon.
Yes, thanks, Laura. Right. Take care.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We were speaking with Nassau County Executive Laura Curran, getting some great updates on what's happening in the county. Kristina and I will be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast, and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am Rebecca Miller, along with Kristina Liu, Talk of the Town, and another great show, of course, Kristina, a lot of information on assisted living. And then we had our very special guest, Nassau County Executive Laura Curran, and just giving some great updates on some nice things that are going on in the county, and events and family things. And your face lit up when she started talking about pumpkins, and you just, it's
really amazing. Like the art, it blows your mind, like how incredible what people can carve into these pumpkins and put them together. I mean, it's not your average, pumpkin.
Right. It's not. There's artistry. I mean, there really is.
Absolutely.
People can do amazing stuff carving pumpkins.
It is. I have to give a shout. My husband is quite skilled at, the pumpkin carving. Every year he kind of comes up with his little vision, and he's very committed. I like, it's a really big process for me. Listen, I do the whole thing, but I like to keep it simple because scooping everything out, it's a lot of work. So I asked Jay to scoop it out for me. I'll, do the design. I'll take the pictures of it, and we're good to go.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound like you're keeping it simple. To me, you lost me already. I'm just like, just send me the pictures. Send me the pictures after you're done. But it's such a fun time of year, driving all over.
And the county, I think what's important to note, Nassau County, and obviously the town of North Hempstead, there's so much to do, right? And there's so many parks and beautiful facilities. We're very lucky to live here that, within 10, 15 minutes, you can shoot all over the place to different locations. And I'm always very impressed with the outdoor activities that everyone's kind of been pulling together, figuring out, because a lot of people that feel I'm more comfortable doing outdoor stuff. I like to be outside. That's one thing that, I always liked, but certainly during the whole COVID thing, I really enjoyed. We've been pretty blessed with some nice weather. Knock on wood with all that. But we were just talking during the break, Rebecca and I, because The Veterans Barbecue
Right.
is, 20 minutes in right now over at Clingy Martin Park. And that's something that is outside in a tent. So I can't wait
Right.
to see all the pictures and hear about that because it's certainly
Yeah,
a lot of work went into it.
it's a great event. And, as you know, Christina, it's an annual event, usually done indoors with indoor servers.
Right.
And, just to be safe, it's outside, but the tent's lovely. It's a large tent. It has sides, and they're doing a barbecue. So I think we have Famous Dave serving
Ooh, God, I might have to
barbecues.
shoot
Yeah.
over there. I love Famous Dave's.
And Philly Pretzels, they're coming
Ooh, I
too.
love a soft pretzel also.
And there's Bud and Linda, and they're doing entertainment. And it's a lot when you do an outdoor event. There's so much involved, and
It
I
is.
know community services works really hard to get these events going. And I know the veterans look forward to it every year. And I think that I think they're honoring a veteran who is like 101.
I heard, yes, someone's
Yes.
heard, yes.
Yeah. So that's happening right now at Clinton Martin Park under the tent. And I think also next Friday, they're
Yes.
going to be doing the Halloween party also under the tent outdoors with entertainment. And I think that Famous Dave's might be doing something also. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, yes, I don't know. I know that it said there was going to be a light lunch.
Yes.
Dessert, music, dancing, and games. Once again, that's Friday, October 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. over at Clingy Martin Park. You must register for this event, but
Right.
that
Yes.
should be fun too. It's
Yeah.
nice. These and like I said, I know doing an outdoor event, it's certainly difficult. There's a lot of things you have to think of that aren't necessarily, the same things you think of when they're indoor. But listen, it makes it special. The things, every kind of little gathering I've had or, party for an occasion has been outdoors, since COVID, and I'm like the queen of the tent now. And there's such beautiful stuff that you could really do and transform. So I know the community service is doing that too. So I'm really excited to see all the photos from that as well.
Yeah, there's an interesting event tomorrow happening. I actually am going to be working at a Tully Park for their Halloween
Oh, yes, for the
celebration.
dogs. I say in North Hempstead thinks of all the residents, including the animals of North Hempstead.
Right, right. So that should be fun. I don't know how the dogs, use their little paws to call 311 to register, but for any information, please call 311. I do note that it is going to be chilly tomorrow, so make sure you dress warm if you're coming down with your puppy to Tully Park.
So cute. And I like, I was looking at the flyer for that because, it's a whole little festival and obviously they want your pets in costumes and there'll be different prizes for what this was my favorite. A prize is given for the best dog and human duo costumes.
Yeah.
So I like that you could like match your pet and
Right.
get creative with it. And there'll be a photo booth and that's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow over at Michael J. Tully at the dog park there, which I think is really
Yeah. That'll be really cute. I'll send pictures.
Yes, certainly send pictures because I will be prepping for my husband's 40th birthday tomorrow.
Wow.
So that's my own personal event. We were laughing during the break of I'm going with an alien theme for this. I thought I would tap into Halloween plus the fact that, as we all know, society's been a little crazy. So if
Right.
we see aliens, it's not that far off anymore. Like I've accepted it, So we thought it'd be a funny thing to I always like to have a kind of Halloween-y theme. So we will be doing that. It's all outdoors. I have a tent in the backyard I'm like my own community service department here. All week long there's been different things being dropped off. But my favorite showpiece is we got a clear igloo that has full like outdoor couch seating inside. There's a chandelier, there's lighting, there's an air purifier, and there's a heater in there. And it is stunning. I was like blown away. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these igloos, especially during COVID, kind of popping up. And the first time I went in one was pre-COVID. My husband and I were out east for our anniversary, which is in December, our dating anniversary, I'll say.
Right.
And
of course.
we did one and it was so beautifully designed. It was all like winter and cozy and there was a heater and we were like, this is so cool. And of course, when COVID hit, it started becoming more and more of a thing. But we got that, and it is so amazing. I was like, I could like just hang out, throw a TV in here. I could hang out in here.
I know.
all day
Kristina, how
long.
many people?
12 people could fit in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's really, but I love that it came with an air purifier because I love an air purifier. So it's really amazing. So listen,
So I guess there's no way to surprise Jay because obviously.
right. So with like the little details, because we're like, we're a team when we have these events. I'm like
Right.
my vision, and he like does like the actual securing of everything. So I'm like, so little details he'll be surprised about, but I have a giant poster, which he hasn't. I'm surprised he has not stumbled upon it. A collage of all the pictures of Jay, baby Jay throughout the years onto, because it's a good thing we've been together for so long. I have like all these pictures at my fingertips. So it should be quite the
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the
yeah,
pictures.
We're just having a couple of our friends, so
the scrapbook.
Yes, there's going to be a whole thing. So it should be nice. These are the fun things that we should be, focusing on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of good things that are going on.
So what else is happening here in North Hempstead?
Yes, well, in North Hempstead, we were talking about, obviously Project Independence has lots of programs that I just want to touch upon because last week, the Medicare open enrollment started. That's just the hot time of to really make changes to your Medicare plans, to review them, whatever might change. A couple of weeks ago, early in October, we had on Barry Klitzberg, who is kind of our guru of all things Medicare. I mean, the knowledge that Barry has about such a complex topic is amazing. So I actually want people to check that out. It's going to be up on our website soon, on the WCWP YouTube. Eventually, it should be up on the North Hempstead TV channel because it's really good information. We asked him a lot of great questions.
Yeah, I thought it was great. A lot of information.
And then we give out his phone number and whatnot. So I encourage people to check that out because it's a hard decision and it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So and you have till December 7th to do that. So I just want people to realize that's a time to kind of
get the information now.
Absolutely.
And, you could do a little research.
Right. We're all about preparing. We don't want you in a rush situation where you're panicking and trying to pick a program. But we have a bunch of different groups. Some of them are meeting in person. Some of them are meeting, via Zoom still, which is nice because a lot of the groups have had different, there's different needs for different groups. Some people are more comfortable with Zoom, and listen, we're all about kind of accommodating as much as possible everyone's kind of comfort level. So our men's group and our social group is meeting via Zoom. That's to be determined. They might do a hybrid situation with some of them. So the social discussion group's on Thursday. The men's group is on Fridays. We have a Golden Hearts bingo program that just kicked off in October.
Yeah.
And that's over at the Roslyn Community Center. But you could also, on top of playing bingo, you get your blood pressure screening, and you could talk to the nurse and the social worker. So it's kind of a fun meets, taking care of like important things as well. So
yeah, that's very convenient. That's great.
Absolutely. So that's
people have to call.
Yes, so that's registry for all these programs, especially because there are certain space limitations, and we want to make sure everything is safe as possible. Always call 311 or 866-311. And obviously, for the Zoom classes, you need to do that so we can give you the Zoom link as well. But that is, they're, like I said, on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So that's really ramping up, which is exciting. Also, we have on, I can't believe, we're at the end of October. It's like my brain like kick into gear. On Monday, we have one of our joint advisory committees that is currently meeting via Zoom still. So you can call 311 or 869-6311 to get the link for that, because it's a really great place, the advisory, to kind of hear updates from the town supervisor. And then we have a great speaker. We have a woman coming on from Project Hope that actually helps people during this whole COVID crisis, and people who either are struggling with it or just anxious. That's kind of a big thing that our Pioneer newsletter addresses as well, is just how to kind of re-enter society, whatever, it might be. There's a lot of anxiety through it, so it's she's wonderful. And she'll just give tips about that. So that's on Monday, October 25th at 11 o'clock. And it's just a great place for the advisory. You know, they share thoughts and, you know, concerns.
Yeah,
whatever
listen.
it is. It's a great place. We always say, too, you could say as much as you want or as little as you want, but just to kind of get a feel for what the needs are in the community. And a lot of people call in as well. So I want to stress that to everyone. You don't need to have a video capability or be, you know, a whiz at technology. If you just have a phone, you can call in and listen and still participate and talk and share thoughts in the meeting as well. So I think that that's really important to note because everyone might not know that.
And, you know, Kristina, too, with the advisory board, most of the like really progressive programs that Project Independence runs has come up because of residents who come to the advisory board. They're like, hey, why don't you try this? This
Absolutely.
radio show, for instance, taxi transportation, any kind of advocacy program, you know, so the advisory boards are really key to how Project Independence progresses because we listen to what, you know, residents say, and it's their time to let us know where their needs are, what they're seeing, what other places are doing that are helpful.
You're so right, because that's always kind of been, you know, part of the Project Independence kind of world. You know, you have the town of North Hempstead, obviously our department, and, you know, the town board who supports, you know, Project Independence, which is amazing.
Right.
Oh, and then you have obviously our community organizations that we tap into and have relationship with, whether they're formalized or informal partnerships. You know, there are resources. And then it's really the seniors, you know, so they're just a part of this puzzle, you know, because listen, we all don't want to waste our time doing programs that are either happening somewhere else or, you know, are not really utilized. You know, Beck, I think you could speak on it too. We're constantly reevaluating things.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, even with the exercise program, you know, it was like, you know, where is the need most? Where is it most being utilized? You know, how do we kind of find a centralized location, especially, you know, with COVID, and look at the success of that, you know? So I think that's what's really important, to have the seniors kind of input in all this.
Oh, absolutely. Kristina, I'm curious about one of the programs. I know you and I talked about, I think it was a Cornell Cooperative. Did that happen?
Yes,
were doing
so
the
the
nutrition
mindful
program.
eating chat was it yesterday? What, the 20th?
I think it was,
2
right?
days ago. Yeah, so whatever. I can't keep track of any days. But it was, yes, 120. And they do a monthly program. And Beck, I wish you were actually on the show. You weren't here that day. So it was Otto and I did it. But we had Cornell Cooperative on the radio show. And she's so amazing, the woman that we had on, and we've had her on a bunch of times. And there's such a wealth of information.
Yeah.
And there's great, like, I didn't even know that you can go to visit Cornell Cooperative. I think she was like America. I have to get the exact, I can't remember the exact thing, but they have like a little farm there that people even have like a garden piece. Yeah. And there's such great information. And the mindful eating piece, it was such a wonderful interview. Of course, we had a lot of laughs because we were sharing some of our not so healthy eating habits.
Unmindful habits.
But it was really such an amazing thing, because she was explaining the situation of, like, part of mindful is being aware of it and not judging. It's like a no judgment situation. Right. So
absolutely,
she made us feel good. Otto and I, we walked away like, okay, cool, like, we're allowed. She's like, you know, you want that cookie, like, eat that cookie, you know, like, don't. So it was really amazing interview, and I encourage people to listen to that and to check it out, because every month she is over at the Magnolia Gardens providing a different nutritional based program, and they're really creative. You know, they've been doing a lot of bingo, but like an educational bingo.
Yeah.
So the next one coming up in November is on portion size, which is great. So you kind of like have fun but learn stuff with it. So that's been a very popular program, and they do all kinds of different topics on, you know, salt and balancing meal. It was just, they're amazing. So yeah, I can't
they
say
really
enough
are
wonderful things about their program. So definitely call 311 or 869-6311 for information on any of those things, because they're wonderful.
They really are.
I'm excited for next week. Oh, you're gonna have to wait for the break to hear why I'm excited.
All right, so we'll be right back with Kristina Liu after we take a short break. You're listening to Project Independence in You at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
So welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM. Been your host, Rebecca Miller, along with Kristina Liu, who is the radio show producer. We were talking with Julie Wexler in the first hour of Project Independence in You, all about assisted living. And then we had a very special visit from Nassau County Executive Laura Curran, giving us some really great updates, very upbeat. I really enjoyed speaking with her. And now we were just doing talk of the town. Look at just talking about what's going on in the town, what's going on with Project Independence. There's always so much. It's just mind-boggling, you know?
I know,
It's like,
and you don't realize it sometimes until you're actually, you know, like mapping it out and promoting it. You're like, wow, there's a lot going on.
there really is. We have community nurses, community social work. We have our staff. We've got taxis running and fitness classes and support groups and health chats and radio shows. And for the town, Project Independence, Department of Services for the Aging, we are a relatively small staff of people, talking, just about our department, not including the partners and that kind of a thing. But we get the most calls of any department into 311. I think, and I think that we, Project Independence also probably is the reason why, 30% of 311, they have 30% more call takers because of all the work that is produced by Kristina Liu and the rest of the staff at Project Independence.
Yeah, and before the break, I was, saying I was excited because next week's radio show is going to be really great because we have on Sarah Gutman, who's a genealogist. So it's all about kind of tracing your family tree and how to go about that. We talked about that a lot during COVID because Otto, our very own co-host, was very involved in this process. And, he did it, of course, because he's the most organized, senior around. He did it. And he actually tracked down a cousin who, told him about his grandfather, and he visited the place, the bar the liquor store that it was in the city.
Right. That was a great
And he found out all this information. And we were saying it was such a great thing to do, especially if you're home, and kind of to make those connections. And there's so much amazing technology now that makes that possible, to do these things. And it's so cool. I'm so interested in the whole thing and to hear about it. And so Sarah's going to tell us kind of how you go about doing all that, because it seems very overwhelming. It seems like a super big task. So she will be on next week to talk about it. So that should be a fun one, Beck. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I did Ancestry.com.
Yes.
And I got my results about 10 days ago. So there was nothing really shocking. I mean, I pretty much know where my family comes from. But what was so surprising is I have so many second cousins that I like, they send you the list of all based on your DNA of all the potential, people that you're related to that are on Ancestry.
Right.
So it's, those that aren't. So I don't know. I mean, I must have busy families because there's a lot of people. I mean, I personally, I'm not looking to reach out to anybody, but I'm just, because I'm more curious to my, heritage, where everybody from and that kind of thing. Maybe someday I will. I don't know, but I think it's going to be very interesting speaking with her. I'm so glad.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. I think that'll be because there's a lot of people who just have unanswered questions. I've heard of all kinds of different stories. Whether even if someone's been like adopted and they're trying to figure out. So there's so many different layers, and I think it's a fun task to, little by little to chip away at. So
Yeah.
that's next week. So I encourage everyone to tune into that. That'll be really great. I know we're in our last segment, and I just want to give a quick shout out to John Ryan, who we miss very much. And it's his birthday today. So there's no way I was going through this show without wishing my dear friend a very happy birthday. So happy
All
birthday.
of our love. Yes.
Absolutely. Always.
Beautiful, Kristina.
So, yes, I did not want to forget that because he's not getting away that easy just because he's not here to get his birthday shout out. So
There was no way you were going to forget about that. I'm just
that's right. It's not a show ending without a proper happy birthday wish.
Yes.
So I also mentioned earlier about our Pioneer newsletter. Hopefully it's either got to you or in transit to you, whatever it might be. It's a really great issue, though, that's jam-packed with all kinds of, the giant umbrella of preparedness and all the kind of offshoots that come with that, which are just, endless. So we have about kind of how to obviously prepare for your kit, your survival kind of kits, which are important. And I know a lot of people might know this, but it's a great refresher. I'm all about the list, and there's a little checklist in there. So you can just kind of go through it and say, what do I have? What do I need? I'm constantly trying to make sure I have like enough batteries in my house because I go through batteries like water in my house. Everything is like, battery operated. So it's just like an important thing to have, because I think we've all been there when the storm happens and you grab your flashlight and it's dead, so it's.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
very,
like this now. I don't have to worry about that anymore for the first time. We got a
That's right.
generator.
Yes.
Because our house always lost power. No matter what. If someone sneezed, if like two people sneeze at the same time, we would lose power for about 5 hours.
It's true. You always did. So these are just different. And then there's that. Then there's about fire safety. Which is so important, and your smoke alarms, because I think that that's something that can tend to get neglected. We've talked about that a lot on our show. We've had on different firemen who've talked about, kind of how to protect yourself and what to do and how, with carbon monoxide and all these things. So there's a great list about that. There's also this wonderful home safety checklist I found, and it was about fall prevention and home safety. And it's like just yes or no questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you answer yes, there's a tip to kind of correct that or, to make it easier. So I'm all about, walking away with some practical knowledge. And then, of course, we have the wonderful blurb about our radio show anniversary we celebrated not that long ago. We have all of our programs being advertised, a wonderful little blurb from Otto Los called Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda, which is so Otto. I love it so much.
That was my favorite. I love that title.
And, we have, as I had mentioned earlier, some scam prevention and tips on kind of COVID reentry anxiety and about our transportation program. It is jam-packed with so much knowledge. And on the front, we have a message from our supervisor and also just kind of tips on how to practice gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something we could all kind of actively work on. It's not, it's work. It's not easy. You actually have to do it, but there's little tips that could actually make it a lot easier, when you're feeling anxious or sad or stressed. So it's important to always kind of have, that for your own self. So I encourage everyone, if you are not getting the Pioneer, to please call 311 or 869-6311 so I can make sure you are on the list. And if you are not on the list, we could add you to the list.
I think this was my favorite newsletter so far, really.
It's really jam-packed with some good stuff.
I really, really liked it. I thought it had a great flow, really timely articles, very important stuff in there. I mean, I thought it was excellent, Kristina. So really kudos to you. I do want to do a little bragging about our transportation program, if I might. So because we are in part federally funded by the 5310 grant, and we provide transportation for people 60 and over, and also people in the town with disabilities, we get reviewed. We get, to potentially put off audits, but, everything is a possibility. So we are always dotting our I's and crossing our T's. We work on the back end of the transportation program with the town attorney's office, with the grants manager, with the supervisor's office. We have, we even have, work with the commissioner of the HR department. And we had every 3 years, we have a major review where we have an application that's over 60 pages. And we have to answer every question. There's multiple questions on every page, and pulling from every department. And we had the review yesterday. Kristina, we've been kind of frantic about it. I mean, we have the information.
Because I could speak from, not being directly involved, but, peripherally. The work that, you guys put into the details of it. Listen, if anyone knows the team at Project Independence, we strive for excellence all the time. We're all like the A students in class. And the work, that I saw you and Shari, putting into this, I mean, I don't think people could fully understand. But how did the review go?
Well, I mean, this was the preliminary, as we didn't get our letter, but of course we had no deficiencies at all. There was a few recommendations that we already did. We already changed. There was like a couple of little things, but everything we're doing, with non-discrimination and everything that we're supposed to do. And you know what? Because of the way that NYSDOT, New York State Department of Transportation, and the federal department that they manage, the MTA, and this grant, we really are up here. I mean, we do everything that we're supposed to do. And it's so helpful to kind of it's easier to kind of do the right thing the whole time than to say, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, I got to do that. But
and that back is like, really, that's just shows you what we're always preaching, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. Because, when we do preach this preparedness, yes, you might initially have to put in a little more work to make sure everything is, but once you have that flowing, it's a lot easier, to maintain it, than starting from scratch, or being in some kind of crazy emergency situation, trying to get all those pieces together. So
I think, Kristina, that's how you live your life. And that's why you're a great, I mean, I always say this, you're like the producer of Project Independence, and not just the radio show, but the department, in the way that you keep things organized. And I was listening to you on the show. It's so funny talking about the lists, because you're so organized in that way, and
I like to have those lists so we can just pull it out,
Yeah. And it's such a huge support for the staff. I mean, I always know you will have the answer. I don't care what the question is. It's like, all right, let me just ask Kristina, why am I looking?
I do not want to disappoint. I try to not disappoint. And if I don't have the answer, I really will boots to the ground, try and figure that out and calculate it. But that's, I just have to say, the transportation program is just an exemplary program that other townships try to recreate or find information about, but there is nothing like the North Hempstead Project Independence Transportation Program. And especially, I think, during COVID, the protocols that snapped into gear and the coordinating with all the taxi companies, and to make people feel safe and to still be able to get certain places and to get food and medical care. I mean, like, really necessities, and especially to age in place is just amazing. So
I think it's always going to be unique, because and this is why we keep, I think, applying for the grant and getting this grant for transportation, because of how unique we are. Of course, we went through this review and there were no deficiencies, how we run the program, but there's so much oversight that happens naturally with all of our programs. A lot of it because of 311. Like, they wanted to hear about that. Like, how do you know a ride actually happened? How do you reconcile that you're paying the taxi company for a ride that happened? And it's like, well, call comes into 311. That ride has its own SR number. Yeah. The taxi company has to return that ride with that SR number. And then we're able to reconcile. There's no way for them to say, oh, we took a senior to, Stop and Shop and return them home. and there's no SR number and no one called the 311. That doesn't happen. So it's a really tight ship that we run, and so much of it.
And I think that's important, because the 311 call center, we always say we're like siblings in this whole, because that piece, and having that, and obviously we have to kind of morph it to fit, kind of human service things, and it's never 100% perfect, but it really is so amazing, and that is a huge piece to so many of our programs, and the accountability portion of it, is really what makes the success and makes these different programs seamless, and it's just, I always think about John Kamen, who, was town supervisor when Project Independence was kind of just starting. And when he was talking about the call center, it always sticks in my head because he was saying, he would have just a desk full of Post-it notes. So there's Post-it note. He's like, how easy it is for a Post-it note to go missing. I think we could all, speak on that. He's like, but the call center took away having to lose that and have something lost in the cracks. If something becomes overdue or not answered, we get notified of that.
Right.
Paula, you and myself, we get the email saying, this is SR is almost overdue, and we follow up with whoever was assigned to and make sure, so there's a constant like checks and balances situation, which is makes it successful and gives people faith in the program,
Right. And that's definitely one of the things that they liked. And the other thing is we can pull information, specific information. We can run reports. I can tell you how many people are writing tomorrow. I can tell you how many people are going to a doctor. I can tell you, and it's like all at our fingertips, but like you were saying, when we first started having to kind of quantify social work in a system that really wasn't set up.
And it's still hard, right? Because you're never gonna fully. But we've tried to modify that. It's hard because a lot of human service isn't, as much as I love a good quantified number.
Right.
It's a lot of it isn't. You're not able to do that, because I always try to make people understand that, one call can come in saying, hey, I need my gutters cleaned. And that gets sent to a social worker who then calls and talks to them. But then you find out, you start peeling back the layers and, they live alone. They don't drive anymore. They're isolated. They're not involved, so it could be so many different things just from that one call.
Right.
Shoot off, 20, 50 services.
Right.
So it's hard to, get that, into
a number. And especially like a social worker or a nurse may talk to somebody for an hour on the phone and, getting in touch with their doctor and working on medication management. So, when a call comes in for a taxi ride, that's one SR. Call comes in, the taxi, they take the information, the email goes to the correct taxi company, and that's considered an SR. Now, I mean, a lot of times that one ride causes other issues, and then one call could come in, someone wants to speak to a social worker or a family member, and that call could last for an hour. Right. So, it's tricky to, kind of quantify and qualify. And
I know, because we're always blown away by the numbers that we are able to quantify, and you think about how many more it really is, if we just could magically like wave a wand and do that. But I think, at the core of it, Project Independence is, and I'm not just tooting our own horn because we're part of it, but
go on.
It's a program that you're proud to be a part of because there is so much coordination. And the fact that yes, it can be overwhelming at times because we're a small department, but I think because we are so tight knit, it makes it easier for us to, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I have this concern, or, we have our social workers and nurses, in the field who we're in constant communication with, and the fact that they call us and say, oh, do you know a recommendation for this? Oh, do you know where I can get this person? What agency provides this? And then Sherry gets called and says, this is more in depth and needs social work, so there's a constant, coordination that goes on that I think that makes it really powerful. And the fact that you get to like talk to a human, in a quick turnaround. Like I said, we're a lot of like a student mentality, so all of us want to, get there and close that SR and make sure we get in touch with the senior, so we're all very, that's a big part of us.
Right.
So I think that certainly makes it wonderful. So it's a great thing. And so just call 311 or 869-6311. you might not even know what you need. You know, that those are my favorite calls that come in. Be like, listen,
Right.
I just need some help to get my life. I don't even know where to begin. And that's okay. You
Right.
don't have to know where to begin. You know, the social worker or nurse or whatever it might be will, you know, sit down and figure it out with you. And it's just, it's incredible. So.
Well, I think it's that time,
It's
Kristina.
that time.
And, you know, what a great show, great information all around. Another wonderful, wonderful show, Kristina, with just such important information. And again, wishes to John Ryan on his birthday and all of our love. And we'll be back next week with a great show produced by Kristina. And we're going to have some interesting stuff. So you were listening to Project Independence and You here at Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a great week.